Okay, when I come across this article this morning, it was just like a juicy piece of steak to chew into. Uh, it's from the article's from CNBC, and I mean, it's about the article is about Janet Yellen and the Fed, and here's what the Janet Yellen has had to say. Simply, the Federal Reserve plans to raise U.S. interest rates gradually, aimed at sustaining full employment near a 2% inflation without letting the economy overheat, Chair Janet Yellen said on Monday. We have a healthy economy now, Yellen said at an event at the University of Michigan's Ford School of Public Policy in Ann Arbor. That's where she was speaking. She says, we have a healthy economy now. Says we plan on gradually raising interest rates and aimed at sustaining full employment near 2% inflation rate without letting the economy overheat. You notice how she picked the word without letting the economy overheat? You notice that that's starting to come up now? You notice? And there's a reason for that. It's because Jim Rickards has been saying that all along, how the Fed thinks that they're dialing a thermostat, but they're really dialing a nuclear reactor, and how this inflation could run away on them. He predicted that for the longest time, and the reason why is the Fed thinks they have a healthy economy, right? What they've got is they've got an economy that's pumped up with liquidity. Just they've pumped liquidity in. They've controlled every market. They've pumped liquidity in through quantitative easing 1, quantitative easing 2, quantitative easing 3, Operation Twist, hidden quantitative easing that they've been doing for the last period of time that they're not showing. I forget exactly what country it was, but they were backdooring money in through a country. I can't remember what country it was. Something like $300 billion they backdoored through another country. They've been pumping this liquidity into the system. All the markets are controlled by the Exchange Stabilization Fund. The markets are fully controlled. $4.5 trillion on their balance sheet. And she's got the audacity to say that they've got a healthy economy. They've got a controlled economy, and it's not really healthy. It's getting ready that all this liquidity that they've pumped in is finally getting ready to start making its way into the system. Now, let me explain to you exactly what's going on. Kids. A kid goes in and he breaks into his father's liquor cabinet. He finds the key someplace, and he breaks into his father's liquor cabinet. And all the other boys are there. And they're all laughing and giggling. Ha, ha, ha. Jimmy's breaked into his father's liquor cabinet. So he opens up the liquor cabinet, and there's a bottle of vodka in there, you know. And so he says, I'm just like Dad. Look, I can drink this stuff. And he grabs a bottle of vodka, Jimmy does, and he slugs some of it down. Glug, 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 glug. Right? And he looks back at the other kids, and they're all laughing. And he says, just like water. He says, look, you know, it goes like this a little bit. He says, you know, but he says, it's just like water. And so he slugs it all down, and about 2 or 3 minutes pass, and all the kids are waiting for something to happen. He says, look, I'm not even drunk. Look, I can drink this stuff. I'm immune to it. I'm like Superman. And he glugs some more. Glug, 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 glug. Look, nothing's happening. They wait 2 or 3 more minutes, and nothing happens. So he says, look, I'm fine. I don't even feel drunk. I'm like Superman. So he glugs the rest of glug, 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 the whole bottle. Right? He drinks a whole bottle of vodka. You know? And the other kids are looking at him, and nothing happens. Well, here's what happens. The stomach has a layer of mucus around it. And the vodka doesn't make its way through that mucus layer. For a little while, the mucus layer slows the vodka down from making its way into the bloodstream. Now, this is exactly the same effect that the Federal Reserve is running into with all of the money, the liquidity that they've pumped into the banking system. It's just like that vodka. It hasn't made its way into the bloodstream. And the reason why is because the velocity of money has went down almost to nil, and people are scared and they're hoarding money because they're all scared. But nevertheless, that liquidity is stuck inside the system. It's been put in there and it's ready to go, that liquidity. And it's going to cause the most massive crisis once it makes its way into the system. And when it started to make its way into the system was back in July, when the bond market started to show signs of that liquidity. And that was when the interest rates started to go up in the bond market. That was the sign. That was the signal. And nobody witnessed that signal. That signal went unwitnessed by most all of the economists, too, that was the signal. It didn't go unwitnessed by me. I saw the signal. I knew that was it. And that's why I got my channel up and going, because when at that particular time, I started to get this channel up and going. Now, at first, I didn't really do a whole lot with it, but now the time is growing short, and this thing is coming in. It's roaring in like a lion now, and it's becoming manifest to the point where the Fed is starting to point it out. The Fed says right here, Janet Yellen said on Monday, she said, we have to do this interest rate hikes without letting the economy overheat. See, she's starting to clue in now that the economy's going to overheat. But she's only starting to clue in way past the fact. And they're behind the curve. And they don't want to be behind the curve, but the Fed is behind the curve right now. So let me read you a little bit more. She says, I think we have a healthy economy now. Right? She said at an event at Michigan's Ford School in Ann Arbor. Employment is at 4.5%, and now a little bit below the jobless rate. Most Fed officials think the signal of full employment. Inflation is reasonably close to the Fed's 2% goal, she said. She said, with the economy expected to continue to grow at a moderate pace, she said, the Fed is now shifting its focus. Whereas before we had our foot pressed down on the gas pedal, trying to give the economy all the oomph we possibly could, now allowing the economy to kind of coast and remain on a level keel. The economy's not coasting. It's starting to heat up. And they're behind the curve. They're going slow at these interest rate hikes. The economy's going to roar right through it. See, it says the U.S. Treasury and bond market yields were little changed after Yellen's remarks. The Fed raised rates in March only for the third time since the Great Recession, and most Fed officials expect the central bank to raise rates at least 2 more times this year. Yellen's comments largely echoed what she has since said and did not offer any new color to the timing of the rate hikes. The thing is, the Fed is behind the curve on this. Now, let me show you a chart from Shadow Stats. And it's a Shadow Stats employment chart. And now what I want you to look at is there's 3 lines on this chart. There's the blue line, which is Shadow Stats employment that he's been charting. Now, he is an excellent charter. And what he's showing here is the red line is the official U3 unemployment by the Federal Reserve goes by. And you see it's just under 5%. Now, what you want to notice is, what I really want to point out on this chart is here in 2017, right on the end of the chart, in that final year there. Now, you notice this chart is, the years tick by quick on this chart. This is a long-term chart. But it's just this final tick in this final year here, what I want you to notice, that the unemployment is dropping fast, very fast. The broadest, U6, look how fast it's dropping. It's actually plunging the unemployment rate. Even the shadow stat unemployment rate, which is the blue one up on the top, is falling very fast. The official is falling very fast. Unemployment is, the numbers are dropping. And what that means is, it means the economy is heating up super fast. And this is the reason why this last Fed rate hike of 0.25%, the markets blew right through that. And everything, the dollar didn't go up, gold didn't go down, the markets blew right through it. And I think that the Fed is way behind the curve on this. what they're trying to do, they're trying to spur on a recession, the Fed. They're trying to slow everything down. They're trying to throw cold water on the fire. But instead, it's what they're doing is like spitting on a bonfire and saying, "Oh, we're gonna slow it down." Right? No, no. I think that this train is gonna go right through them. I think it's gonna tear through them like tissue paper. I think that's a very strong possibility. I think that they are behind the curve now at this point. And if they are behind the curve, the only thing that could really help them, the Fed, is if something were to happen in Europe, say. Uh, that would be a blessing for the Fed, to help the Fed with what they're trying to do. If, say, Marine Le Pen were to win the French elections, this could have a more profound effect on the markets, and really help the Fed if the markets actually did fall, or something happened to spur deflation again. This could buy some time for the Fed. But if nothing happens, nothing notorious were to happen, no black swans or nothing were to happen, the U.S. economy is going to heat up, and it's going to heat up, and the Fed's not going to be able to control that. And we're heading toward to hyperinflation. Because as oil prices go up, the dollar is going to start to spiral downwards. And when that starts to happen, this long-awaited hyperinflation is finally going to be underway. If you like what I had to say, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.